On this episode of On the Rail, we spotlight trainer Tim Smiley. We learn how our racing secretary, David Osajenik, puts together a racing card. Parks to Horse will teach us about different types of races. And we meet another warhorse. Jockey Sylvester Gonzalez and his agent Joe Hampshire are on the mic. On the Rail starts now.
Hi everyone, welcome to this month's episode of On the Rail. I'm Jessica Paquette, the announcer at Parks Racing, joined by the PTHA's own Chris Griffin.
Hey Jessica, great to be back with you guys here on the Rail, and we've got some great action coming your way, but you got to see some harness racing action. I heard you got to call a race at Freehold Raceway?
I went to Freehold this weekend for their International Women's Day card. It's Women's History Month, and I got to go call not just one, but 3 harness races, including one for female drivers. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, sounds like an amazing accomplishment. Congratulations again. You got to be the only female to ever do that in history.
I think I've called harness racing, steeplechase, quarter horses, and flat thoroughbreds at Parks, so it's been a lot of fun getting to call a lot of different horses doing different things.
That's awesome to hear. Hey, we've got lots of great stuff on today's show. Let's kick things off with the trainer spotlight. Here's trainer Tim Smiley.
Hi everyone, Jessica Paquette, joined here with trainer Tim Smiley. And Tim, you have some deep roots in the Philadelphia area. Tell me about your family's history here and how you got started training horses.
Yeah, well, my father was a restaurateur here in Northeast Philadelphia years ago after World War II, so he was pretty well known there. And back in the 50s, when they were looking for some action, there weren't casinos and lotteries and whatnot, so the racetrack was where everybody would go. So they'd all pile in the car, go to the local tracks, Garden State, Liberty Bell, what have you. And he fell in love with it and started buying and claiming horses and went over to New Jersey, acquired 700 acres of property, built a farm, which is where I am introduced and grew up. So I grew up around the horses the whole time. Started owning horses when I was out in college. Always went to class, but once in a while I'll sneak out and come to the racetrack to watch my horses run. So that was back in the 80s. I had an older brother, Jack, who trained the horses for me. I had a middle brother, Joe, who rode. So those two were very heavily involved with the horses as my father stayed throughout his whole life. I grew up with it.
And what made you want to take out your trainer's license and make a go of it on your own?
Well, I was in the newspaper business until 1999. Always owned horses with, like I said, with my older brother Jack or my brother Joe. So I always was involved with horses and always owned horses. But then when we sold the newspaper, I was not even 40 years old. I'm like, well, I have to do something. I always loved the horses, so I'm like, what the heck? I'll go hang out at the racetrack, get my trainer's license, and see how it goes. Of course, I had aspirations of being the next Bob Baffert, but who doesn't? So, but it's been a good ride, and I always said as long as I enjoy it, I'll keep doing it.
And what have horses taught you as a trainer that you weren't expecting just from owning them?
You are unbelievably surprised how many things can happen to them. There's constant change. Is a tough thing, but it's also a dynamic part of the business. It's never a boring day on the racetrack.
Absolutely not. So let's go backwards. Tell me about your first win as a trainer.
When I first started training back in 2000, I claimed a horse from a guy who actually ended up being a friend of mine, Diane Day's husband, Corey Day. And I claimed him, and the first time I ran him back, he won. And I'm like, wow, this is easier than I thought. And he won twice in a row. His name was Bo Koo, I'll never forget. A chestnut horse, and he won his first 2 starts. It was only probably my first or second start as a trainer, so I really hit the ground running, and I thought it was going to be easy, but it's not always that easy. There's definitely been ups and downs.
So who's your favorite horse that you've trained so far?
Oh, that's tough to say. I have a horse, Mount Serbachi, who is a solid turf horse. He's been a lot of fun. He's Mr. Consistency on the turf, but once I introduce him to the turf, he doesn't want anything to do with the dirt. So it's a very seasonal thing with him. And we claimed a filly a couple years ago named Chelsea Wall. She ended up being one of my all-time highest winners. She was a PA bred. She ran through a lot of her conditions and allowance races. She's a really game filly. Jamie Ness claimed her for me a year or so ago, but she was probably one of my best fillies, one of my best horses.
Now, winter racing in the Northeast can be challenging even under the best circumstances on the days you get here, and it is cold and it is icy. What motivates you and keeps you going?
That's a good question. That's why I always tell people, I'm like, some days these horses just have to be fed and you have to show up. There's days where you're like, what am I doing here? I've had places in Florida that I could spend time, and here I slept out here in the snow and the ice. But it's, the horses are always happy to see you. They're, you need to take care of them. I have good help, but you still have to come and check on them, and you're always hoping that you're going to find that next really good horse. So it motivates you to keep going every day.
And if you could win one major race in the country, which race would it be?
Well, I think everybody would say the Kentucky Derby. I have not been to Kentucky. I haven't even been to Churchill. It's one of those things like a bucket list. Like, I'm not going there until I have a horse to go, but it's getting to the point where I might have to go as a tourist.
Well, hopefully we see you there as a trainer in the winner's circle one day. I'm Jessica Paquette. This is Tim Smiley.
I had such a great time getting to know Tim and learning about his history in the sport.
Oh yeah, it's a great interview, and we'll see what's coming up on the other side. It's break time here on the rail, but first, things I never know the answer to. It's trivia time.
The Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association is the advocate for Parks Racing's horsemen and has worked hard to secure better lives for the hundreds of trainers and their families that work in the thoroughbred racing industry. Our horsemen benefit from medical coverage, trainer pension plans, and increased purses. Thanks to these horsemen, racing at Parks is the very best, providing entertainment for you and the entire family. The Pennsylvania Horsemen are proud to be part of the community and introduce a new generation of fans to the sport of kings.
When you open the Bet Parks app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moments. It's the anticipation of another face card, the thrill of an extra spin, and the pure joy of a jackpot. It's all your favorite games at your fingertips. Plus, get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You play for fun, you love to win. You bet. Bet Parks.
There are a lot of people behind the scenes that work hard to put together a racing program. Chris, have you ever wondered how a racing card gets put together?
Actually, I have, and I know that there's a lot of work that goes into it, but why hear it from us? Let's talk to Racing Secretary right here at Parks, David Osajnik, and he's going to talk to us about how he puts the racing program together.
Hi everyone, Jessica Paquette, joined here with David Osajnik, our Director of Racing here at Parks, Racing Secretary. He is the master of everything that goes on to put our racing product on our great Big Fields competitive cards. They're thanks to you. So tell me, from the start to the finish, when we get out of the gate, how does a racing card happen?
Thank you. I like the promotion that you just gave me to master. But yeah, Director of Racing, Racing Secretary. We take entries for our races. So each race day we have three race days a week, 10 races each day. We take entries, like for example today is Tuesday. We're taking entries today, Tuesday, for the upcoming Monday, which would be January 22nd. So we offer maybe 15 to 20 races for trainers and owners to enter their horses in. We try to get the biggest fields, so we use the 10 fullest fields for the card.
Now, how do people know which races they might want to point their horses to or enter?
Okay, each month we put out a condition book for the trainers and owners to look at. The condition book, I have an example of it here, is just a small pamphlet of races. Each day of the race for the month, it's for a 4-week month, there would be 12 racing days in here. So we offer different races for different category horses, male horses, female horses, short races, long races. So we give them a wide variety to choose from. It's a menu of races, and then they pick, whichever race they think their horse would be best suited for.
Now, how many horses are allowed to enter each race?
Entries in each race is unlimited, but normally we run on a regular race cards. We run a maximum of 12 horses in a field.
And how do you decide if there are more than 12 entrants? Who gets into the race?
We have a preference system, like horses stabled on the ground for parks-based trainers are usually preferred over horses shipping in from other racetracks.
A little bit of a hometown favorite. Now, what conditions are the most popular?
The most popular conditions are, I would say, maiden races, two-life races. Horses never won two races. Horses never won 3 races. They're conditioned lifetime races. They're usually easier to fill. There's more of those horses on the grounds. The stakes races and the open allowance races are tougher to fill because there's less of those horses in the population of the horse population.
Now tell me, how long have you been the racing secretary here?
I've been here 5 years plus now.
And prior to this, what did you do?
Prior to this, in racing, I worked at various racetracks. I was assistant racing secretary at NYRA for a little over 4 years. Prior to that, I worked for Monmouth Park for a summer. I worked at Calder Race Course, and I worked for the Jockey Club, various capacities there, and I worked for Equibase.
And what do you think is the most challenging part of your job as the racing secretary?
The most challenging part is to try to keep everyone happy. There's trainers that want short races, trainers that want long races, and I have to basically try to appease the most people I can at any given time.
Well, that is a tough job. Let's go behind the scenes and take a look at how a race is drawn. So tell me the steps of the entry process from taking entries to deciding post positions.
Trainers and owners make entries. If we use that race as one of our upcoming races for the following week, it's called the draw. We have the draw process. The draw process is that all the entries, each entry is on a slip of paper, it goes into a holder. We have basically a bingo ball machine with the number of post positions. So if there's 8 horses in a race, there'll be 8 numbered balls in the bingo machine. We pull out one slip, you roll the bingo machine, take out one of the numbers will come out, and that will be the post position for the horse.
Now, is this done in a public way where anyone, trainers and owners, can watch?
We do it in a public way. We do it in the racing office. Any licensed person on the backside can come and watch a draw. We have owners that come to draw, trainers, and most of the time jockey agents, because that's their business of getting jockeys named on horses.
And the draw with the balls coming out of the cage, that is visible?
Right. It's visible to all that come to the draw.
Thank you, and that's how a racing card gets put together.
Great information there from David Osajnak. And the men and women in the racing office, they were really, really hard to put these cards together.
They absolutely do, and there are so many different kinds of races for our horsemen and women to choose from. Now let's go to Parks D Horse and learn about the different types of races.
It is time for Horse Racing 101, fun facts straight from the horse's mouth with me, Parks the Horse. In this episode, let's find out about flat racing, where horses compete for prizes under different types and conditions. Flat racing involves horses running on level surface, usually turf or dirt, over a fixed distance ranging from 5 furlongs to 2 miles, and is divided into different classes based on quality and eligibility of the horses. The lowest class is claimant races, which are for the horses that can be bought by any licensed operator for a fixed price before or after the races. Next is maiden races, which are for horses that have never won a race before. There are 2 classes of maiden races. Maiden special weight races feature top quality horses that are expected to quickly break their maidens and move on to more prestigious competitions. And maiden claimant races are for horses who have failed in the company of a maiden special weight competitors, or who just aren't believed to be good enough to start out at a higher level. The next class is allowance races, which are designed to create a level playing field by assigning different weights to the horses based on their past performances. These horses are not for sale, and the purses, the money available for the horses and owners to win in each race, are greater. The horses in these races must carry a certain amount of weight, or be allowed to carry less weight due to certain factors, thus the name allowance. Typical conditions of these races are that only non-winners of certain numbers other than maiden, claimant, or starters can run. The next class is stakes races. You'll find the best local horses at the local stakes races, which often come with restrictions, such as that horses must be bred in the state. These are called restricted stakes. The highest class is graded stakes races, which are open to the best horses in the world and offer the highest purses and prestige. There are 3 grades assigned by the Graded Stakes Committee, grades 1, 2, or 3, with grade 1 being the highest caliber. We hope you enjoyed this brief introduction to the basic types of conditions in thoroughbred racing. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go get myself a steak. We'll be right back with more On the Rail.
How cool was that? Love Parks D Horse. Very informative. Time for another quick break. We'll be back with more On the Rail.
When you open the BetParks app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moments. It's the confidence and underdogs covering, the tension before a clutch turnover, and the pride of a parlay paying off. It's another chance to win big with all-day action. Plus, win your first $10 bet and get $125 in sports bonus bets. You play for fun, you love to win. You bet. BetParks. You open the BetParks app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moments. It's the energy of being all in, the passion of a perfect parlay, and the pure joy of a jackpot. It's another opportunity to win big every day of the week. Sign up for BetParks and get a welcome offer today. You play for fun, you love to win. You bet. BetParks.
Welcome back to On the Rail. Now, Chris, you got to catch up with jockey Sylvester Gonzalez and his agent, Joe Hampshire, who's also a Hall of Fame rider. Now, tell us more about that day.
Yeah, you know, we did this before with trainer Butch Reed, so why not throw a jockey into the mix as well? Yeah, we got a chance to catch up with these guys and follow them around and see what happens before and after that race. And let's see if they get to the winner's circle as well. What's going on? Another On the Mic, and today we're going to talk to a jockey's agent. You've heard of music agents, talent agents. Well, jockeys have agents as well. We're going to follow them around, and we're going to find out what goes on in that day-to-day. This is On the Mic. Hall of Famer Joe Hampshire knew that when he stopped riding, he was always going to be a jockey's agent.
Michelle, can you help me, please? Could you get me a cut on Bump and Run?
Sure.
He learned from what he considers to be one of the best that ever lived back in Boston, and that man was Max Hall.
I'm more nervous watching the races when they rode than when I rode myself.
He's done everything he can do to set them up for success, and now it's up to the rider.
I really enjoy taking a young rider and watch them blossom. I'm going to say Sylvester's probably one of the hardest working jockeys here. He's very consistent. He never misses. He's willing to come out here and beat jog horses and gallop horses to help the trainers that he rides for. You know, we do get schedules where we work horses on certain days for certain people. That's my job to line all that up and keep everything straight. You know, sometimes I got to go to the barn before Sylvester, make sure things are ready. You know, the horse is ready to go. Because some days we get so busy, everything's got to be on schedule.
Basically, the morning just consists of trying to keep everybody happy in the morning, make sure we get all the horses that we need to get out in that morning, make sure everybody's on the right foot, so, you know, communicate with the trainers, whatever we need to talk about before the races, and then just try to go from there.
Yeah, I think, you know, the trainer said that he likes to be forwardly placed, you know, we'll play by the track, and just try to get a good break, go from there.
You do your thing. You do your thing. Tomorrow, first after the break, I'll text you. You're going to get here's you bacon. First after the break. You know? Go do your best, and I'll see you in the morning.
So you heard what happens in the morning. Now it's time to head front side for race day in the afternoon.
Starts in the jocks room, anticipation to come down them steps, and you know, you come out here with your game face on and go meet the trainers and the owners, you know, get your instruction.
Yeah, you know, that horse, he said the last time, you know, the instructions were to kind of just, you know, chill, save a little bit. We're going long, so today we're going a little bit shorter. Just try to save some for the end.
As an agent, you're always looking for the next entry day and move and get more mounts in the future. You got to be extremely even-keeled. You know, there's a lot of ups and downs. So the way you handle things, if you handle things properly and don't get mad, it seems to work out better most times. Once you get mad, now they're mad at you, you're mad at them, it never works out.
Then racing. Slow start on the inside for Motito, going right to the lead in between horses. Audit committee.
Yeah, it just broke okay, and I just tipped her to the outside, you know, just tried to save some for the end. Everybody was kind of hustling for a position, and she was just, you know, going in her stride, and about the middle of the turn, she just started making up that ground.
Horse broke well. Sylvester was patient, kept her out in the clear. I saw she looked like she was jumping from the dirt in the beginning. Down the backside, she eased up. Around the turn, she got in excellent position.
Katie Cakes has the lead. Divine Romance charging down the center of the track. She has her work cut out for her to reel Katie Cakes in with the 16 left to go. And Katie Cakes and Sylvester Gonzalez, they're going to get the win.
You just want to tell them thank you for you know, of course, for the win and for the ride. And if you felt something where we need to work on, you know, for the next time, then you communicate that with them.
It's good to get off to a good start on Monday. Got 2 more days left. No telling what else can happen today. I did my thing. I had a great time. Let these guys take over. I enjoy teaching and working with the kids, and, you know, gives me something to do.
Big thank you again to Joe Hampshire and Sylvester Gonzalez, and they got the win, so that's always great to see.
That is great to see. You must be the lucky part of that equation. Now, every week at Parks, we spotlight one of these hard-knocking horses that makes racing so great. And now I'm thrilled to present Sevier.
Hi everyone, Jessica Paquette, joined here with Jamie Ness. It is Warhorse Wednesday, and we are going to talk about one of my favorite horses. That is Sevier, 76 starts and 29 wins. He's had more wins than many horses have starts, and he's always been kind of a hard-knocking type. Tell me how long you've had him and what he's like.
Good question there. We claimed him out of Oakland, maybe, I don't know, we're looking 4 years ago maybe. We've had him ever since. We lost him one time, got him back the next race, but and like I said, he's up to 29 wins, 10 years old. But, I mean, you wouldn't know it. His legs are tight. He wants to be here. He's a racehorse. This is what he loves to do. I think if I retired him, he'd be miserable. I really do. I think we've got just maybe speculating 17 wins with him or something here, mostly at Parks, a little bit of Laurel and Delaware. But he's in the first stall right when I walk in. He gets peppermints every day. He's one of the cheaper horses we have right now because of his age, but he's my favorite here.
And with a horse like him, claiming him back at 10 years old, that is a bit of a bold move. Though his best days are probably a little bit in the rearview mirror, but still some gas left in the tank. And why'd you really want to get him back in the barn?
Well, it's not a financial deal. He's did us way good financially, so there's no way. I probably didn't matter what the claiming price was. We were going to claim him back, and if he acts like he doesn't want to run no more, or has an issue or something, then we'll retire him. But right now, this is what he wants to do, and I'm excited. I enter him this week for next week, and I can't wait to run him again.
What's his personality like in the barn?
Business-like. No nonsense. Not an easy horse to ride. He wants to go out and train hard every day, so it takes a special rider for him. And he's a business-like horse, plain bay, not flashy, just very workmanlike.
The best things come in plain bay wrappers. Now, what are your instructions to Frankie, who typically does ride him when you're going out there?
Oh, there's no instructions. He knows the horse. He has a good rapport with his horse, and Frankie really loves the horse too. I mean, every time he comes to the barn work horses, you got to stop in Sevier's stall and check him out. Frankie's a good guy, and he appreciates horses like a Warhorse, like Sevier, and he comes from smaller tracks, and so he was kind of used to these kind of horses back in the day, and they're kind of a rarity anymore.
Joined here with Frankie Pennington, the regular rider of Sevier. Now, you're familiar with all of these Warhorse types. Tell me what it is you like about a horse like him.
A horse like Sevier, he's one of the horses you ain't got to do much to him. He knows pretty much better than I do, so I just kind of let him go and do his thing, and that's what makes him such a great horse.
And riding him, do you have any particular routine when you're warming him up or during the race?
I always cut him loose, without the pony and warm him up, but he just goes along and he does his thing, and he's happy about it.
He earned his 29th career victory last time out, and it seemed like you were really proud of him after that win. Tell me about that.
Yeah, for any horse to alone get 7-8 wins, but to get 29 and do it like he does it, he's the real meaning of Warhorse.
I'm Jessica Paquette, and it is Warhorse Wednesday.
Sevier has certainly had an incredible career, and he definitely knows how to find the winner's circle.
Yeah, great to see that horse, and great call, and of course, great job on all the great accomplishments you had this month. Hey, we got another exciting show coming up for you next month. That's it for Jessica Paquette, Chris Griffin. We are out of here. We'll see you next month on The Rail.